I still remember the day, April 3rd. The morning sunlight was soft, the kind that usually made me feel hopeful. I packed my lunch, straightened my tie, and kissed my wife on the forehead before leaving. She smiled at me like always, but something in me felt unsettled. Maybe it was intuition. Or maybe, after 32 years, you just start to sense when you've become invisible. I arrived at the office, the same office where I'd worked since I was 26. I'd been there through 5 CEOs, 3 recessions, 2 corporate buyouts, and more sleepless nights than I could count. I helped build their foundation. I trained most of the younger managers. Hell, I even stayed late to fix broken printers and clean up after office parties. So when I got the calendar invite from HR that morning, my gut told me everything. I sat across from 2 people half my age. One was a junior HR rep who couldn't look me in the eye. The other was Dan, a young director I had once mentored. He cleared his throat nervously and read from a paper. "We're restructuring. Your position is no longer aligned with our future vision." My future had no place in their vision. No performance issues, no complaints. Just a quiet execution wrapped in a polite script. The envelope they gave me contained 3 months severance, a thank you letter, and a list of transition support options. Like a band-aid on a bullet wound. I didn't say a word. I nodded, stood up, and walked out. I sat in the parking lot for nearly 2 hours. I stared at the people walking in and out of the building, my building, like nothing had changed. I thought of my age, my mortgage, my wife, my children, my health insurance, my retirement plans, and I wept. Not because of the job, but because I felt discarded, like I'd become obsolete. People like to talk about age as just a number. But let me tell you, in corporate America, it's often a ticking clock counting down to irrelevance. The first week, I did nothing. I walked around the house, drank too much coffee, stared at my phone, ignored calls. I avoided my wife's gentle attempts to talk. I was ashamed, embarrassed, angry. But around day 8, I opened a dusty box from the attic. It had old journals, idea notebooks, and scribbled business models I had written in my 30s and 40s. Dreams I never dared to pursue because the job always came first. And something clicked. What if this wasn't the end? What if it was the invitation I never knew I needed? In the quiet of my kitchen, I began sketching out a plan. I didn't have much capital, but I had time. I had knowledge. I had reputation. And most of all, I had nothing to lose. By the 3rd week, I registered an LLC. By week 4, I launched my own consulting firm, a lean, efficient project management consultancy focused on solving the very inefficiencies I had seen large corporations create. I called it Legacy Works. Why? Because experience is legacy, and legacy works. I built the website myself. My daughter, a graphic designer, made the logo. My son helped me set up Zoom and social media. My wife became my part-time accountant, part-time coach, and full-time believer. I started emailing old colleagues, quietly reaching out to contacts I had made over 3 decades. Some never replied. Some said, "Let's catch up." But one call changed everything. A former client, someone I hadn't spoken to in years, was struggling with a major product launch. They had fired their existing consultancy due to delays and mismanagement. They gave me a chance. Just one. I poured everything into that project, all my experience, every late night, every trick I'd learned over 30 years. I didn't promise flash, I promised results. I delivered 2 weeks early. The client was stunned. They wrote a testimonial so glowing it brought tears to my wife's eyes. From that point on, things moved fast. In the next 3 months, I hired 4 more people, all over 50, all with decades of experience, all overlooked by a system obsessed with youth and buzzwords. We worked from home, ran tight operations, and offered clarity clients couldn't find in big firms. We didn't need beanbags and fancy slogans. We had wisdom. We called ourselves the Gray Foxes, quiet, sharp, experienced. Our slogan? Old school speed, new world results. 6 months in, we secured a contract with a multinational company. 9 months in, we had to turn down work. And at the 1-year mark, we were ranked as one of the top up-and-coming consultancies by a major business magazine. But the moment that truly brought it full circle, when we beat my former employer for a contract. Their client had complained about slow communication and bureaucratic delays. Sound familiar? We swooped in, gave a clean proposal, executed in 45 days. The client didn't just switch to us, they sent a thank you gift. I didn't gloat. I didn't even respond to the congratulatory emails. I just sat back, looked at my team, and smiled because we had done it. Today, I'm 59. I work harder than ever, but on my own terms. I take walks with my wife every morning. I mentor young consultants who actually want to learn. And I remind anyone who asks, you are not obsolete. You are not outdated. You are not done. I was fired for my age, but I built something better with it. So if you're reading this, doubting yourself, thinking your time has passed, let me tell you something from a man who was once left behind. Sometimes getting fired is the best thing that can happen to you. Sometimes the end is just the beginning in disguise.